Uh, Hello, everyone, and welcome to day one of APH Virtual Excel Camp. Let's give everyone a moment to get into the room and get settled, find a comfortable chair or whatever position you like to be ready for learning in. As you're all entering the room, if you could all take a moment to go into your chat settings and set it to either all panelists and attendees or everyone. That way, when we're having any conversations in the chat, everyone will be included on all of that. My name is Jeff Schwartz, and I am an APH Outreach Services. We are very happy to have you all with us today. This week, our theme is Oreos and Abacii Camp for 5 through 8-year-olds. This is our target group, but we are happy to have anyone join in on the learning. So if you're here and don't quite fit those parameters, welcome. I'd like to go ahead and welcome our teachers for this week, Teacher Amy and Teacher Nina. And I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to them now. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Miss Nina. I'm in my 30s. I'm a woman with dark brown hair and dark brown eyes, and I am a teacher in Maryland.
And I am Miss Amy. I am a Caucasian woman also. Well, I'm in my 40s, not also in my 30s. I'm in my 40s and I have brown hair and hazel eyes and I'm wearing glasses. And I'm very happy to be here as well.
Great. So I'm going to share my screen so we can get started with a fun Oreo fact. Let me play this. All right, welcome to Amazing Oreos. We're excited to be here with you today. We're going to start by sharing a fun Oreo fact each day. Today's fact is Oreos were created in 1912. That's over 100 years ago, but 110 years ago. So they've been around for a long time. Since then, over 450 billion Oreos have been made and sold. Oreos are sold in over 100 countries around the world, and they come in many different flavors. Some flavors are only sold in certain countries. So on our screen, we have a picture of some Oreos that we haven't probably tried here. I've got an Oreo with half orange and half yellow filling. I have an Oreo with purple filling, and I have a pink Oreo with green filling. In Japan, they have green tea ice cream flavored Oreos. I think that's the pink one with the green inside. In Argentina, they have dulce de leche flavored cookies. In Indonesia, they sell blueberry ice cream flavored cookies. And in China right now, they've got orange mango cookies. Those are flavors I have never tried before. I wonder if I would like any of them. We're gonna try giving a thumbs up if you think that you would like to try a green tea flavored Oreo. We're gonna look down here, see if we can give a thumbs up. I don't know if everyone knows how to do a thumbs up. Let me go back. I'm looking for our participants to see if anyone knows how to give a thumbs up. I don't think I can see it on my end. Maybe Miss Amy could help me.
Yep. On your chat, if you are in the chat and you are at the bottom, there should be a smiley face emoji. If we click on that, we have a bunch of emojis listed, and among them,
I see some thumbs up.
Should be a thumbs up. Let me see. Oh, great. Seeing lots of good thumbs up. Oh, I see like a hang 10. I like it, Caleb.
All right, so we've found it. So I'm going to ask another flavor. If you think that you would like to eat a blueberry ice cream flavored Oreo, you can give us some kind of thumbs up or high five emoji. Blueberry ice cream. Oh, I see a thumbs down. I'm not so sure either. I've never even had blueberry ice cream, so I don't know. Okay, we're gonna do one more. If you think that you would like to try the orange mango Oreo, you can give us a thumbs up emoji. Oh, I see some cute emojis. I see lots of thumbs up. That one does sound good. I think that's the one in my picture that looks half yellow and half orange. It's a mix.
I haven't seen any thumbs down yet.
Not for
So
the orange mango. Nope. That does sound good. I
not on
see a
this
silly
one.
emoji. Awesome,
Ooh.
guys. Thank you. All right, well, maybe if any of us travel, we'll look for Oreos wherever we go. Try some different flavors we've never tried before. All right, guys, I really like how you guys have found the emojis and put them in the chat to help us out. In class, during our session, mostly you're going to stay with your microphones on mute so you can hear our videos or hear me or Miss Amy when we're sharing information. But when we ask a question, you can type your answer in the chat, or sometimes we might ask you to do the hand raising icon so that we could call on you in case you wanted to share out loud. Okay, there'll be opportunities for both. And if during our session you have a question that you really want to ask, you could type it in the chat, or you could raise your hand with the raising hand icon and wait, and we'll know to call on you when we're ready, okay? So right now, we're gonna do some more practicing in the chat box. It's gonna be our chat box check. And we're gonna make sure that everyone knows how to type a response in the chat box. If you think you need someone to help you, you can go ahead and grab that adult now, okay? If you are having trouble finding the emoji or finding the chat box, now is a good time to grab an adult, because we are going to do a chat box check. Okay. Today's question for a chat box check is, have you ever used an abacus before? And I've got a picture of a Cranmer abacus on this page. And in the chat box, if your answer is yes, you've used one before, you can type a Y. If your answer is nope, never used one, don't know what it is, you can type an N. Miss Amy and I just want to get an idea of who has used one before. It's totally fine if you have not.
I'm seeing mixed. So I'm seeing some no's and some yeses, and that's great. Because we are. All right.
Okay, yeah, we do have a mix.
Yeah, are we ready for a little abacus history then?
Yes, actually, yes, we are. I'm looking to see. I think we wanted to see if any friends who say yes, they've used an abacus before. If anyone wants to share out loud, maybe something that you've done with your abacus or something you know how to do with it, you can raise your hand and perhaps we could call on a couple of friends if anyone wants to share out loud with the group. Looking to see if anyone's going to raise their hands.
The raise hand is in a different place on your screen. It is not in the emojis, although you might be able to find it in an emoji to raise your hand in the chat box. Instead, on the on my computer, it's on the bottom among my mute button and my video button, and it actually says raise hand. Looks like Miss Nina is sharing a slide that shows the raise hand on the control bar for Zoom. So right now on my screen, I've hit the raise hand button. And when you see my square with my picture in it, you should have a raise hand up. unmute. Oh, they maybe not have a raise hand.
Right.
So if we
Yeah.
don't have that on our participant end, if you just let us know in the, oh, somebody's responding. Ours is on the bottom center of the screen next to the chat. Thank you.
It might be different for everyone. If you can't find your raise hand button, you could type in the chat that you want to share. I see a smiley face. Okay, Annalise, I see a smiley face, so I think maybe that might mean you want to share out loud. So if you would like to unmute, if you have permission to unmute, you could share out loud something you've done with the Abacus.
Okay, and so I will ask to unmute Annalise. And I am hitting the ask to unmute. Okay, everyone muted at this time. We will unmute students as time allows and we'll ask for raised hands.
Annalise has permission to talk, but I'm not sure. She says
Okay.
you're okay.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, I see that Luca entered into the chat that Luca can count to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 on the Abacus. Awesome. Okay. All right, well, we will work on the unmuting and sharing out loud again later. I think we'll move on to the history.
Okay, so speaking of our abacus, abacii for plural, abacus for one abacus, I'm going to tell you a little history. An abacus is a tool that has been used for counting and calculations for a very long time. It is sometimes known as the world's first calculator. The first abacus was invented thousands of years ago. Abacii have been used by many civilizations throughout history and have changed over time. Abacii are all similar, but have some differences. Miss Nina has an example of a sorbin abacus from Japan that her grandmother actually used in school.
So I'm going to stop my share so I can hold mine up. I'm going to stop my share and hold it up. This was my grandmother's abacus.
It's made of a wooden frame and it has wooden beads.
Yep.
And they're on metal rods. Very cool, Miss Nina. It's really cool that your grandma learned to use that because it's a very helpful tool. Over 2,000 years after an abacus was first invented, in 1962, a man named Cranmer created a version of the sorbin abacus that would be more accessible by someone who has a visual impairment. He was blind from childhood. His version of the abacus was made with a black plastic box, red felt in the bottom that helped to prevent the beads from sliding around. And you can, I think that my screen was just spotlighted with my abacus, my Cranmer abacus. The beads are more circular, rounded on this version of the abacus. It still has the rods and it has a separation bar that has some tactile features that help us find which rod we're on, and also to include commas in our numbers. That's located on the separation bar and on the bottom if you feel yours. Now it's time to go and get your abacus if you don't have it with you already. Some of them have been sent in the mail, but may not have arrived at this point in time, unfortunately. So hopefully they will get there soon if they haven't gotten to you. But if you have one at home, go ahead and get it now. This invention of the abacus, this change that was made by Cranmer, Miss Amy has a hard time saying it, has just had just a minor improvement, a couple of minor improvements to make it accessible for everyone with the felt and the tactile bars. Okay, hopefully everybody.
I see a thumbs up.
Good.
Oh, yep. If you've got your abacus in front of you, you can give us a thumbs up. Let us know you've gotten it. If you don't have one, that's okay, because we will show ours and describe it as we go along. Okay. Two more thumbs up. Lots of thumbs up. Great. That's okay if yours hasn't arrived yet. Yep, and just listen and follow along, and you'll be ready when it does arrive. Okay, so while everyone else is grabbing their abacus, I'm going to go over the objectives for today. By the end of our time with our abacus today, we will be able to position the abacus correctly in front of you. You'll be able to identify the 1s beads, the 5 beads, and the separation bar. And if you don't already know how, hopefully you will be able to count numbers up to 5 on your abacus. That is our plan for today. All right, I see lots of thumbs up, lots of got it. So it looks like everyone who has one hopefully has it in front of them now. Okay, and Miss Amy, would you like me to put the slides back on where it's labeled, or do you want to keep it on this view for a little bit?
Sure, we can switch to the slide until we need to actually move our beads because we have some labels. Thank you.
I'm sharing my screen again.
While Miss Nina is doing the screen share, we want to make sure that we have our abacus positioned in front of us properly. So the first thing we will do is make sure that the smooth back of the abacus is on the table or on the surface in front of you. In my picture that is on the screen now, labeling the abacus parts, the smooth back is the part you cannot see. The top that's facing me with the beads is showing. On the top of the abacus, you'll find the 5 bead. The 5 beads are on the very top and should be away from your body. Then there is a separation bar that divides the 5 bead on the top from 4 beads below that on the bottom, which are the 1 beads. Hopefully everybody has their abacus positioned like that at this point. I would like everybody to take a finger and run it across the separation bar to feel the tactile markers on that portion of our abacus. You'll feel dots, and the dots correspond with the rods of the abacus. Then you'll feel a line that's a little bit more pronounced, and that's where the commas in your numbers, as your numbers get higher, will be. From the right-hand side of your abacus, going to the left, you can find your first dot, and that will represent your 1s column. We're going to stick with our 1s column today. The other thing that you need to know is that my abacus, once actually we might want to move back to my video abacus, and actually the abacus in my picture is also set to 0. It's all clear. So when we're working with our abacus, before we start to count, we want to clear it to make sure that we don't have any numbers set. And what that means is that all of our 1 beads are pushed away from our separation bar and toward the bottom. And then our 5 bead is pushed away from the separation bar, but toward the top. They're actually going in separate directions. So let me see in the chat if I have a thumbs up, if we think that we have our abacus positioned correctly and that everything is making sense. Getting thumbs up.
Great.
If you are not and you need help, you can put a thumbs down and we will explain a little bit more. Okay, so far I have thumbs up.
Yep. Okay. Great. So your abacus is in front of you. It's positioned correctly. Okay. Well, we have a fun chant for all of us to do to get us really excited for counting on the abacus. I'm going to go to the next slide that has the words of the chant, and Miss Amy is going to lead it, and then the rest of us are going to be her echo. So whatever Miss Amy says, we repeat. But I think first we're going to get ourselves going with a good beat, right, Miss Amy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a beat. So I'm thinking just clap our hands on the table and then clap our hands together. And you can follow along with me at home. So I'm going to get our beat going. A, B, A, C, U, S. I'm gonna rock my abacus.
Hey, everyone at home with me. We're going to be Miss Amy's echo. Ready? A, B, A, C, U, S. I'm going to rock my abacus.
Like it. Let's go again. This time we're going to say, I'm going to count on my abacus. Here we go. A, B, A, C, U, S. I'm going to count on my abacus. Your turn.
I hope you're doing it at home with me. A, B, A, C, U, S. I'm going to count on my abacus. Good job. There's one more.
Oh, and in case we didn't point out yet, that A, B, A, C, U, S, that's how you spell abacus. But that's not what we're doing for our third round. So for our third round, we're going to say that I'm going to learn on my abacus. Here we go, and I'll show you. A, B, A, C, U, S. I'm gonna learn on my abacus.
A, B, A, C, U, S. I'm gonna learn on my abacus. Hooray!
Excellent.
Good job, guys. All right, I'm gonna stop my screen share because Miss Amy is gonna count with us, and we're gonna be looking at Miss Amy's abacus share. Let me stop my screen share. There we go.
And there we are, back to my abacus in front of me on my desk. And it is positioned the way that hopefully everybody has it positioned at home and that I got thumbs up for. So today we're going to learn how to count to 5 on the abacus. I know that some of my friends already know how to do that. So just participate along with us. And as we learn each day, we're going to add on and hopefully we'll get to something new and you'll learn something. But for now, we're just doing ones column, which is all the way to the right-hand side of my abacus. Can everybody feel the rod that is all the way to the right of their abacus? I'm pointing it out on my video if you can see that. And what we're going to do is, since we have it clear, that means you're going to be able to feel the bar right above the 1 beads and right below the 5 beads. And it also means that nothing is touching the separation bar that goes across my abacus. I'm going to put my finger on my very first 1 bead. Everybody got their finger on their very first 1 bead? And what we're going to do is we're going to push that bead up to the separation bar. And I just counted a 1. 1. So I have 1 on my abacus. Come down and put my finger on my bead that was left behind. I should have 3 left on the bottom of my abacus, my 3 1 beads left. And I'm going to take the one closest to the one I pushed to the separation bar, and I'm going to push it up to touch the first bead that I pushed against the separation bar. And now I have 1, 2 beads touching my separation bar. So 2 1 beads would make 2. Can you think how we're going to put 3 on our abacus based on what we just did? I bet you can. Let's take that pointer finger, put it on that bead. That's the second to the bottom bead, and push it up toward the other 2 that were touching our separation bar. Now we can count 1, 2, 3 1 beads. So we've counted to 3 now. And I bet you have it now. We'll move our very last 1 bead in our ones column up. And now we have counted to 4. You should be able to feel your rod and feel that 4 beads are now all touching, or one of them is touching your separation bar and the rest of them are touching each other, and that there's a space on the bottom of that rod. Should look different from the rod next to it too. Now, when I say clear, we are going to take our finger to the very number 1 bead in that 1 column in that row on the rod, and we're just going to push all of them down. Are you ready? Let's push them down. Now I'm back to where I started, and I am all clear again. So let's try it a little bit faster this time. Are you ready? Put your finger on your ones column on your very first 1 bead that is closest to the separation bar, and let's count to 4 together. 1, 2, 3, and now 4. Now I have all of the 1 beads in that ones column pushed up to the separation bar with my space and my rod where I can feel my rod on the bottom. Let's clear it again. Let's count 1 more time, and then I have a question to ask. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you were listening at the beginning, you know that I labeled my picture with a 5 bead. But how would I make my 5? All of my 1 beads are up, touching my separation bar, and I have 4. Well, this is where a special motion comes in. We can put our finger on the 5 bead on the top. We know, because I've already told you, that this is a 5 bead. We are going to have to bring down our 5 bead from the top to the separation bar, but we can't stop there. We need to continue to pull down and clear the rest of the ones. So now only the 5 bead is touching the separation bar. This makes 5. Let's clear it. And if I said, I want to set 5 on my abacus, what do you think I would do? There are 2 things I can do. I can count using a counting method from 1 to 5, or I could just set a 5 bead. I just demonstrated how I set a 5 bead. Right now, I've set 5. I'm going to clear again, and I want to this time show you the counting method. So we're going to start with our finger on our 1 beads on the bottom, and we are going to start putting them one by one and counting them together. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 set. This is where my 5 bead comes in that sweeping motion that I'm going to pull down all my 1 beads. So my finger goes to the top. I'm going to pull my 5 bead down, but I don't stop there. I'm going to bring my finger all the way down until my 1 beads are no longer touching, and then I can count to 5.
Awesome.
Should we try one more time, except a little quicker this time?
Sounds good.
Let's do it. All right, clear your abacus, please. Let's get our finger on our 1 beads and let's count to 5, this time without me talking quite as much. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull it down. And I have 5 set. Hopefully that all made sense and that we all followed along. And I'm going to clear my abacus this time, and we are going to move on to something else.
Awesome job, guys. All right, today we won't be needing our abacus during our experiment. So you can take your abacus and set it aside for today. Some of our experiments, we're going to need it back, but not today. Today, we're just working with Oreos. I'm going to share my screen again. Here we go. Because it is time for our Oreo experiment. Here we go. STEM time. Today, during our experiment, by the end of our activity, you will be able to give, oops, let me close this. You will be able to give 2 or more examples of physical weathering, and we will be able to use our senses to explore changes to materials caused by physical weathering. And we're going to be using our Oreos today to act as rocks, to explore the changes of rocks over time. But instead of using a rock, we're going to be using an Oreo. Okay, so let's think about rocks. I've got some pictures of all different rocks up here. Some of them are kind of jagged. Some of them are more smooth. They're all different colors, different sizes. Some of them are rough. Let's take a moment and think about rocks. Where have you found rocks before? What did it feel like? We're going to give everyone a minute to think about where you've found rocks and what they feel like. If there's someone in the room with you, you could chat with them about it.
I see in the chat that Luca is saying that he finds rocks at his farm.
Awesome. Oh, good. I like that you guys are putting in the chat some places that you've found rocks before. That's great. Mostly at the beach. Okay.
Diana found at the beach, yeah.
Oh, in the forest. I find rocks at a stream near my house. That's where I go to collect them sometimes. Oh, in your neighborhood, out camping, at a park. You can find rocks all over.
Oh, wonderful examples.
Great. Awesome. Yes, those are wonderful examples. Rocks can be found all over. Rocks are constantly changing over time. Over millions of years, rocks have changed. They're breaking down, they're changing. This is through a process called weathering. And that's what we're going to explore today. We've got some videos that I'm going to play next that teach us a little bit more about what does weathering mean and what causes it. When I start the video, I'm going to need a moment to get the captions going. So just give me one moment. Close the chat.
Weathering for kids.
I'm going to get the captions up. And Miss Amy, just to check, did you hear it say weathering for kids?
I did, and I do see the captions, so we are
Great.
good.
Okay. So we have 2 video clips. They're about a minute or 2 each. And we're going to listen to what is weathering and what causes it. Here we go. Press play.
Kids.
There we go.
Have you ever heard of the Grand Canyon? It's so beautiful. Have you ever wondered how it was formed? The process that formed the Grand Canyon is called weathering. And today we're going to learn all about it. What is weathering? Weathering is the process of breaking down or dissolving rocks and minerals. Water, ice, acids, salts, plants, animals, and even changes in temperature can cause weathering to take place. Weathering happens all the time, all around the world. Every time it rains in a valley or a wave crashes on the coastline, weathering takes place. Even things like worms slithering underground and the roots of trees growing are causing weathering beneath the Earth's surface. There are 3 different types of weathering: chemical, mechanical, and biological.
Okay, so there are 3 types of weathering: chemical, mechanical, and biological. Today we're exploring mechanical weathering. It's also known as physical weathering. So our next video will teach us a little bit about physical weathering. I'll need to turn the captions on again. So when I go to the next video, just give me one moment.
Weathering for kids.
If it will let me. Here we go.
Next, we have mechanical weathering. Mechanical weathering is also known as physical weathering. It's caused by frost, ice, moving water, or even heat from the sun. Mechanical weathering breaks larger rocks into smaller pieces. The difference between this process and chemical weathering is that during mechanical weathering, the minerals inside the rocks don't go through any chemical changes. They stay the exact same as they were before. The most common type of mechanical weathering is through water, when it seeps inside a rock and freezes. The frozen water expands, causing cracks in the rock, which eventually breaks the rock into smaller pieces. Mechanical weathering can also occur through heating and cooling cycles. As rocks become hot and cold, they expand and contract. Different components of the rock expand and contract at different levels, which can cause the rock to crack and break apart. The Grand Canyon is a great example of mechanical weathering. Scientists believe it was formed over millions of years as the water from the Colorado River flowed over the Earth's surface. Little by little, the water from the river wore down the rocks until it eventually created the biggest canyon in the world, stretching as far as 277 miles long. That's amazing.
All right, I'm gonna go to our next slide.
Next,
Okay, all right, so physical weathering can be caused by moving water It can be caused by water getting into cracks in rocks, and then when it freezes, it can crack the rock open or split it into smaller pieces. And it can also be caused by maybe wind that has little sand particles in it being blown over the rocks over time, and kind of like sandpaper, kind of wearing it down and giving it a new shape. So that's how our rocks can change over time from physical weathering. Before we do our experiment to see how our Oreos change over time, we are going to play a listening game. So I've got 4 pictures on the screen and I have 4 sounds. There's a picture, number 1, of a stream, water going down a stream and around the rocks. Picture number 2, with ocean waves crashing on the beach. Picture number 3, with ice cracking. And picture number 4, with wind blowing a tree. Okay, so wind blowing. So I'm going to play one of the sounds. You guys are going to listen and you're going to type the number to let us know which picture do you think we're listening to. What sound do you hear? And after we play the sound, I can review the numbers. Okay, so get your chat box ready. Okay, and let me close this. All right, I'm going to play the first sound. Everyone get ready to listen and think about what you're hearing. Is that 1, a stream, 2, the ocean, 3, ice cracking, or 4, the wind? Well, I'm seeing some 3s, lots of 3s so far. Good job. Yes, that was the sound of ice cracking. Picture number 3. Good job. Guys, ready for the next sound? Here we go. Is that 1, water in a stream, 2, the ocean, 3, more ice cracking, or 4, the wind? See what we've got in the chat.
I see a lot of 1s. I see a 2. The 1 is the stream and the 2 is ocean.
I agree with everyone. That was definitely the sound of water. Let me play it one more time. That one is actually the sound of water flowing down a stream. The rocks in the stream are probably rolling over each other, bumping against each other, and getting shaped by that water as it's flowing down. Okay, maybe pieces are breaking off. All right, let's do another one. Get ready. That's the stream. Number 1, the ocean. Number 2, ice. Number 3, or the wind. Number 4. Here we go. I see number 4s. I see a number 2. See lots of number 4s. Great job. That was the sound of wind blowing by. In places like the desert, pieces of sand might be being blown around in the wind. They can blow against rocks and mountains over time, which can wear them down or wear them away like sandpaper rubbing on something, and kind of shape the rock over time. Okay. Oops, let me go back. There is one more sound. That's our one sound that's left. Here we go. was our last sound. Good. Number 2, that was the sound of the ocean. Some of those sounds sounded kind of similar. The ocean I could kind of hear as the wave got bigger and crashed onto the beach. Good job. And as those waves are crashing down the beach and those seashells and rocks are the waves are crashing down them, and they're also tumbling around and wearing down, breaking down into smaller pieces or becoming smooth. Great. All right, and you guys listed a lot of those places as to where you found rocks: at the beach, in the woods, at the park, outside. Rocks are all over, and every day all these forces are acting on them and they're changing over time. All right, so now Miss Amy is going to tell us about our super fun part. We're going to spend the rest of our time together doing our Oreo weathering experiment.
All right. This is the fun part. It's time for our Oreo experiment of the day. So we're going to take a few minutes, actually 2 minutes, to gather our materials at home if you are going to do the experiment along with us. If not, you can just listen and watch while Miss Nina and I do the experiment and tell you about it as we go. What you need are 2 Oreos, Oreo cookies or something like an Oreo cookie, a container with a lid. Here's mine. It's a blue Tupperware container and it's got a lid, so mine's made out of plastic. And other materials like a rock. I have a rock that I got at the beach. A hard toy would work, a cotton ball, maybe sandpaper, an ice cube, water in a cup, etc. Those kind of materials from around the house. So hopefully everybody is going to gather those things right now. These things will go in the box with your cookies, the extra materials that I'm talking about. Here's my Oreo.
Here.
All
You
right.
guys can give a thumbs up when you've gathered your things and you're back. I got my container, I've got my Oreos, I've got rocks, and I've got sandpaper. I'm going to try that one.
So Miss Nina, I hear that you're putting sandpaper in with your Oreos.
I am.
And I've got my 2 Oreos and I'm getting thumbs up in our chat that people are getting ready. And I have a rock to stick in my box.
Oh,
This is my rock that's nice and smooth. You can tell it's been weathered over time because it's smooth.
oh, Miss Amy, I forgot to run the timer.
That's okay.
I said we were going to run. Let me just go to the next slide. All right, I'm still looking for some thumbs up to make sure everyone's got the materials. And then we have a short video to show an example of how Miss Amy set hers up. And then we'll all get started.
And another thumbs up. Even if you are not gathering materials and you are ready to go, give us a thumbs up, please.
Good to go. Okay. All right, I'm seeing more thumbs up. We'll wait just a couple more seconds and then we'll play this video. If you're still gathering materials from nearby, you could listen to the video as you gather. We want to make sure we've got time to do it at the end. All right, ready, Miss Amy? I'm going to play the example, okay?
All right. Speaking of weathering, we are going to have an experiment about weathering today. The first thing I'm going to need is a container to put my items in. My items are going to consist of a rock And this rock is from Maine, where it was weathered over time. And when I touch it and feel it with my thumb and my fingers, it's nice and smooth. It doesn't have any edges on it. The other things that I'm going to need are my Oreos. I happen to have 2 Oreos. And then also a marshmallow. I'm going to take my first Oreo and I'm going to place it in my container with my second Oreo. I'm going to take a lid and place it on the top. Make sure it's nice and tight. And I'm actually going to hold it tight when I go to do my weathering experiment so that my Oreos don't fly out of my container. And then we're going to shake all different directions. And we're going to listen. We all heard what those Oreos sounded like together. And after some time, when we do it together, we'll tell you to stop. And then we're going to take off our lid. But I'm not going to ruin it. We're going to experiment together next.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there.
All right.
All right, I'm going to stop my screen share for a moment. Okay, so Miss Amy, in her example, put 2 Oreos in her container. Okay, like putting 2 rocks together, they're going to bounce against each other, bump into each other. I wonder what happened, Miss Amy. I'm going to put 1 Oreo in my container and a piece of sandpaper, and I'm gonna kind of just swoosh my Oreo over that sandpaper to see what happens. I'm trying to kind of act out the wind for weathering. All right, so everyone got your materials, put your Oreo in your container and choose one of the things you gathered, put it in your container with the Oreo, and then we're all gonna shake together. Shake our containers. Once the lid's on, oh, I better make sure my lid is tight because I do not want pieces of Oreo on my floor. All right, Miss Amy's putting things in hers. I've put things in mine. Hopefully, friends at home, you're putting your Oreo and one other thing in your container. Maybe it's another Oreo, maybe it's a real rock, maybe it's a hard toy, maybe it's a piece of sandpaper. Maybe it's a few drops of water. I don't know. You decide. We can act out all different types of weathering. Looks like Miss Amy's put a hard rock in there with her Oreo. I wonder what's going to happen to mine. Thinking about what I expect to see. Think about what you think is going to happen to your Oreo. We're going to shake it together. You guys ready to shake it? Shake it. Mine's rubbing up against my sandpaper on the side. Let's shake for 10 more seconds. Put your container down. Open up your lid. And take a peek inside. You can reach your hand in. Feel what happened to your Oreo. Oh, I'm getting little crumbs all over my hand. Take a look. How has your Oreo changed? Does it look the same still? Has it broken into smaller pieces? Are they in big pieces? Are they in little crumbs? Has it become smooth?
Mine, I'm feeling with my hands down there and the cream is out. That means it broke open and there's lots of powder. That means my Oreo went from being a whole to into tiny little grains and pieces. And I have about, maybe 6 chunks of Oreo left. Some are bigger than others. Some are tiny.
Oh, yours broke into a lot of pieces, Miss Amy.
Yeah, that was because I had my very hard rock and my rock was harder than my Oreo, I think.
Oh, mine only broke into, only one small piece broke off in mine. but mostly I got lots of crumbs on the bottom, like little, almost like Oreo sand. That Oreo sand on the bottom there. Oh, I see Tiana said hers is all broken. And Elise put a rock as well, and it broke into a bunch of different sizes. I wonder if anyone put water in there with theirs. I didn't, but I think I might do that next, because we can always do more after we're done. Keep trying different things. So we have a place we can record some of our observations, but I think just reading them out loud, or if friends are allowed to unmute and share, Mr. Jeff, we can do that. If not, we can just keep reading your responses off of the chat and tell us what you put in with your Oreo and what happened. So it looks like Annalise had similar results to you, Miss Amy. Hers broke into many different sizes. Did anyone else put sandpaper in like me and end up with Oreo sand or Oreo dust? Some of the edges of my Oreo are smooth now. All the ridges have worn away, and it's smooth on the side, on one side. Ooh. A toy car and an Oreo, a tiny bit of crumbs fell off, okay? A rock and an Oreo, broke into big chunks. Ooh, somebody did use water and the cookie kind of dissolved a bit and it wore down. Maybe it got smooth on the edges too, or smooth on the outside.
Water made it
I think if you put a lot, it's gonna get squishy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and put a few drops in mine later. Or maybe I'm gonna put a few drops and then put it in my freezer later in my container and see what happens. See if it cracks open.
Did your prediction, did it match the results of your experiment? Did you think that that would happen after you actually tried it? Was it what you thought?
With my sandpaper, I expected some Oreo crumbs and dust, and I expected it to get a little bit smoother. I was surprised that it really did get smooth all along the edges of mine when I did it with the sandpaper. I wonder if I shook it more, if I could make my whole cookie smooth, if it would crumble off all the edges and be smooth. I'll have to try that, do more. Okay. Oh, somebody did first attempt with a rock and an Oreo, and then later tried with something softer in the Oreo. Awesome. All right, friends. So we did one together. You might have gathered some more materials. You can put a new Oreo in your container, dump out the crumbs, or you can keep using that same Oreo, put something new in your container with it, shake it again, and see how different things change and weather your Oreo over time. Okay, and tonight or this evening for our extension activity, you can make some fresh Oreo crumbs and you can make a dirt cup or Oreo cookie pudding. Okay, you use crumbs from your Oreo and some pudding. Somebody's cookie broke in half. All right, and you're going to use crumbs and you can enjoy a nice snack later if you decide to do the extensions activity, and you can post us a picture of your Oreo crumbs and your recipe. I guess you can decide how you want to break up your Oreos and turn it into crumbs. Maybe you're going to weather it a little bit and use those crumbs if all your materials are clean.
Okay, and you can see how this really would be like weathering in real life too, how we break things down over time and what we learned with weathering and how we applied it with our own experiment. But it looks like we are out of time for today.
List of items we need for tomorrow. Yes, that is, and Miss Robin, you can make sure, but that was sent out in an email for day 2. I can quickly tell everyone as a reminder, you'll need your abacus if you have it again, and you'll need a bunch of Oreos tomorrow, because tomorrow we're making Oreo towers. You'll need a bunch of Oreos. We're going to be stacking them up high. And you'll need maybe a cookie pan or something to put them in, because in case it falls, we don't want crumbs on our floor. So a nice workspace, okay? And a bunch of Oreos tomorrow. Oh, someone else, sandpaper made the edges smooth. That was like me. Awesome, Luke. All right. Okay, when we get off, I'm gonna put some water in mine and I'm gonna freeze it later.
All right.
And whatever you guys are gonna do, have fun.
Thank you all for joining us today. This has been fun.
All right, I'd like to thank our teachers for today, Amy and Miss Nina, for our lesson today. You all had me thinking about Oreos. One thing I love more than an Abacus is a good Oreo cookie, so I might have to go get myself some. I'm going to pause our recording at this time.